So I forgot a slide in the previous section on open economy. I'm just going to cover it here with the saving and investment, and works in both sections anyways. And I kind of alluded to this in the balance of payments. It's the whole idea that this equation here that it holds, this net capital outflow is equal to net exports, will always hold. Okay? We saw in that example, if you think of that example I had with that extra 50 billion, that you can either get $50 billion worth more of goods or get more of their assets. In any case, your net capital outflow will always equal your net exports, or else you have an imbalance between what someone's giving you and what you're giving them in exchange. You won't be happy with that. Like with a friend or someone else, you could always say, oh, he'll pay me back later. But that idea of he'll pay me back later is he owes you something. So he owes you something in real terms will be like, well, he'll give you a bond, or he'll give you like a debt repayment schedule or something else. He'll give you something in exchange. So NCO has to be equal to NX, but this equality does not imply that they have to be equal to 0. They just have to be equal to one another. And even if they would be equal to 0, each of them, like NCO and NX, it doesn't imply that exports and imports is equal to 0. And that doesn't imply that the amount of money that is flowing in one country or flowing in the other country is also equal to 0. It just means that the net amount is equal to 0. And something important to keep in mind, because some people see net exports is equal to 0 and think, well, we're not trading. Well, that's false. It's not that we're not trading. It's just that we're trading the same value. So if we think of that equation that we had, that we've been removing this in the last few chapters, now we're keeping it in. So this whole segment here, we said that this whole thing was equal to S. So S will now be equal to not only investment, but investment plus net exports. And we know that net exports is equal to net capital outflow. So this makes sense. If you think about it, it's the amount of money that we save, our savings goes to investment here, or it might go to sending that money elsewhere, getting that money elsewhere. Okay, so it's a combination of the two. We have portion of money that goes here, but some of it gets outflowed. So yeah. So if we have net exports that's greater than 0, we'll have exports that's greater than imports. So from this situation there, we must have net capital outflow which is greater than 0, which means that our savings is greater than our investment. Okay, for this to be positive. If we have a trade deficit, exports is smaller than imports. We're buying more from abroad. Therefore, we must be selling assets abroad because our net capital outflow is negative. We're sending them a lot more money. So essentially, we're not saving as much and money is flowing in. So we're in that situation where we owe them stuff. We're giving them assets in exchange. If they're equal, saving is equal to investment, such as in our closed economy. But being equal to 0 or having a balanced trade, balanced trade doesn't imply that NX is equal to 0. Yes, a balanced trade does imply that NX is equal to 0, but balanced trade does not imply that exports and imports is equal to 0. It implies that they're both equal to one another. So in that section there, the amount of money that is invested within our country has to be the amount of money that is saved. So remember, this saving is this national saving, which was a combination of public and private saving, which is equal to the investment.